yes, welcome back to another edition of the Oh No Wrestling Podcast. It's been a little while. I've been on vacation. I am, of course, your champion. I was on a champion's vacation. Is what I was doing. I was taking my belt. I wasn't defending it in any territories. I wasn't doing anything.
Did you and T do dirty?
You don't know what we did to the belt, my friend. We got a new one made, and
okay.
After all that, you know what I'm saying. But yeah, conspicuous by his absence is, of course, our good friend Duncan. Duncan will be here later on tonight, but I'm thankful to be joined by my good friend, the modern-day Maharaja. He is Matthew. He's been holding down the fort with us the last few weeks. I, of course, am your predictions champion, and my name is Owen, the Sharp Break Kid. Welcome to another edition of Oh No Wrestling. Just throwing out the hype, throwing out the everything all at once. By the way, I'm surprised you haven't commented yet on my shirt, Matthew.
Oh no, I was looking at it.
It's a shirt, right? I mean, this is my new
shirt.
This is my new Puerto Rican pride shirt. I got this. It's a baseball player apparently named Clemente. Look at this black man. That's all over.
Whoa!
Oh yeah. He's playing baseball. There he is.
Is he? How? Why is that one in black and white? Is he? When did he play?
He's an old baseball player, man. That's all the pictures they had of him. They had,
Wow.
So I asked Teresa for the tackiest shirt that she could find.
It's kind of a tacky boss shirt.
Oh yeah, it's tacky boss. She got this in Puerto Rico when she went down there, and I was like, you know what? I'm gonna wear that on the podcast tonight.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah,
like a true champion.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like a true champion. Speaking of wrestling things, though, I do want to just quickly go ahead and say that one of the biggest stories of the week is actually it's a wrestling related story, and I've seen so many people been just blown away by this. I don't know if you've heard about this yet, man. The biggest news happened. It just broke the other day. The biggest news.
The biggest.
Dave Meltzer's desk and office has been cleaned.
Holy shit.
Finally. It's been cleaned.
Finally. How am I the last to know?
The Wrestling Observer went down there. Brian Alvarez actually went down into Dave's studio. They cleaned. Apparently there was vacuuming that went on. They've even set Dave up with a microphone and camera so he can sit on the couch. And he said, Dave, it just keep this little area clear so that behind you doesn't look crazy. And then we can do video podcasts, and you can pile up as much shit behind the camera as you want. It doesn't matter. But
all journalists and wrestling journalists. I mean, you've seen going into even Cornette's place.
Yeah, Corny's place is kind of like that. Yeah,
dude, they all just have so much shit. Like, when can you let it go?
I don't know. I guess not. And where do you put it all? And I understand what they, go through. But it was funny. Like, that was, amongst a bunch of other stuff, that was one of the lead stories of the week.
I mean, that's the news. I mean, we're doing a full podcast about this, right?
Well, we should. We absolutely should talk about.
We should do a before and after side by side. Like, we should put out a zine or something, side by side, circle the differences. You know?
Yeah. I want to see pictures now. I want to see pictures of the after, the before. I want to see it all. Apparently, New York Times wanted to actually get pictures of the before and after, and Alvarez actually said no, that he didn't.
But if it's...
Or Meltzer said no or something. I don't know. There's something weird. That's
concerning. What's on that desk? Crumpled up tissues and weird things. But
I just think
luchador masks and... Yeah. But how much do you have to clean up if it's just what you're gonna do a podcast and it's gonna shoot? I got shit piled all around me right now.
Yeah.
It's not that hard, Dave. How did this make the news?
Well, no, your room goes back just like another like 100 feet behind the camera that we see. Now, if you're like looking beyond the camera, that's where you pile all the shit. Like you don't put it behind you.
That's what I'm saying. You just have to have all of this area, which is not even an arm's length.
That's why I have a wall right behind me. That's why I have a wall, because I can pile all the shit in front of me.
In front. Yes.
Like my guests and my co-hosts and those types of things when they're
here. And that and the other.
Yeah. But no, I thought that was funny. The other thing I thought that was funny relating to Dave Meltzer tonight, or this week rather, was that I think Dave got really hoodwinked by a news story this week. And it was that Joey Janela was being all Joey Janela once again. Here we go.
That's what he does, man.
He was all ups in the Twitters, basically inferencing that GCW had some sort of deal with WWE and that they would be working together. And he was like using he was telling all the GCW wrestlers to watch Raw and like
what?
He was working everybody. He was being Joey Janela, and because it's the most unbelievable.
Meltzer reported on it,
and Meltzer reported on it and took it as.
Worked himself into a shoot.
He worked, yeah. He's like, I don't know. There's something going on there with the, the GCW and the WWE and I mean, who knows what's going on with that.
Who knows? I don't know. I can't say anything. All I can say is I heard some things.
And yeah, apparently it is, of course, just Joey Janela being Joey Janela on Twitter, and there's no truth whatsoever to GCW and
great.
But can you imagine GCW WWE partnership? Like
no, not at all. Fuck.
No, if it was AEW, right? It's somewhat believable.
That makes more
believable.
Sense. They have more hardcore and more blood and things like WWE. Like, what are they going to do? Like.
Well,
they'd be PGCW.
Part of the fun of all of this is in some of Joey Janela's threads, people are like fantasy booking some of this stuff, and so they're they're having fun with it, and they're pissing around, and I'm like, yeah, oh my god, Nick Gage in the Royal Rumble and stuff like that.
Nick Gage versus Brock Lesnar.
Yeah.
Oh no, that and Roman and I Quit match.
Yeah, exactly.
Or Last Man Standing. Yeah, Jesus.
So I thought that was funny. I thought that was really funny.
That is very funny. I have something funny for you.
Go.
I thought this was funny. I don't know if you'll find it funny, but I chuckled to myself more than a few times thinking about this. So there have obviously I don't know if you've heard about this because there's obviously been a lot of news on Dave Meltzer's desk. But it's a double entendre too.
I got you.
Yeah. But so this may have gone under the radar, but there was an altercation backstage at AEW a couple months ago. Yeah. There was this guy, CM Punk.
Yeah, I remember that.
The group, the Elite.
Yeah, I remember
the Bucks
that.
And Kenny Omega. Yeah. I mean, so there was a whole thing, right? And so
you know what I like though? They're called. You know what I like? I like the new terms. Have you heard the new terms for it?
What's the new term? Because I will say that I click on all the articles because every day there's a new fresh thing of articles, which is just clickbait to sell ads that are like, hey, there's something hinting at something with the investigation.
Well, and then it starts with the.
We don't really have the news. They just give you the recap.
Well, no, this is the way it's all.
Maybe there's something coming.
This is the way it's being termed. It's the gripe bomb instead of the pipe bomb. Gripe bomb. And it's the brawl out. Gripe bomb and brawl out. All out, brawl out.
All right. That is now how I'm going to refer to it.
Yeah, I think we should all refer to it as that.
I think,
Gripe bomb and brawl out. Because I think that makes it very specific as to what it is, too.
That is very specific to what it is. So, we've kind of talked like, what do you do with CM Punk? Do you just pay him, let him wait out his contract? Do you go into this legal thing? Do you just like buy him out, like that sort of thing? What if, and this is what was my what if, this was my high thought the other night. was, what if Tony Khan not saying anything? And I gave him a lot of shit for this on the podcast and just in general in life about not saying anything and being I'm going to be the fucking boss, right?
Yep.
And like, what if he's like a fucking silent killer and he was just like, nope, I'm just not going to say anything. And what he's doing is he's making CM Punk show up 9 to 5 at some shitty warehouse and go into an office and just sit there, kind of like that George Costanza where he has to just sit there in the office all day. And like, now I'm envisioning CM Punk like with glasses with a piece of tape, and he's got like the accountant
answering phones for like, you know,
or just answering phones, or just making him sit there and being like, you're fucking in this room, you get 2 15s, like you eat your fucking lunch in the break room, and guess
you're
what?
an employee now.
Yeah, you're however I'll still pay you whatever our fucking contract is. You show up here every fucking day. He makes him like fight traffic in and back home.
Yeah, he has to be a regular person. He has to be a regular person. The thing that CM Punk would hate the most.
Yes.
Dude, that is actually
how
genius.
Great would that be? In my head, I've been picturing this for like a week, and
until your contract expires and your non-compete expires and all that. Like, and I guess
if you quit, you don't get shit.
Yeah, you lose the deal, bro.
Because you quit.
Because you quit.
So, who's got the upper hand now? Fuck you, Punk. And everyone else thinks you're a dipshit already.
I've looked at this from a couple different sides, though, too, because you could argue that, maybe Punk could threaten a lawsuit, right, against EVPs of a company, knocking down his, who knows how it happened, but, getting into his dressing room and starting a fight. That's what we do kind of know. So you can make that argument that he would have a lawsuit, against Tony if he didn't, play ball. But I honestly think that right now it's a case of we're going to pay you exactly like we're going to pay you a portion of your contract. We're going to pay you a portion of your contract, and you're going to have a non-compete for a good portion of that contract, especially with the other piece of information that we know he's injured, and Tony Khan would look like shit, right, if he didn't pay for that medical injury that happened in his company for a pro wrestler. So he's going to at least honor that. But while you're in recovery, while you're like getting paid, you don't get to go sign with another company while I'm paying your medical bills. So Tony has that on him as well. So I don't know. Like I think
you've heard the rumors of people in Triple H's sphere are saying try and bring CM Punk back.
I'm glad you just
nightmare.
I'm glad you just brought it up, but it's a throwback to something that Triple H said in 2021, April of 2021. Triple H reveals he talked to CM Punk. This must have been in an interview. Less than 2 years ago, says Punk has to have desire to return to wrestling. I mean, that's something right there that they have even talked, right?
I think there's a lot of truth in who was it that said it? Was it MJF or Mox? It was one of them that was like, they only like the only reason he came back was because he fucking ran out of money.
And there might
do you think
there might be some truth to that?
I mean, I don't think he was like broke, right? But like, I think that we all have a certain level depending on where, as an individual.
He had 5 million. He dropped down to 3 million. He was like, "Oh no, I need to go back and make another few million."
There's like a level for each individual person based on what you do and go through. That you're like, you know what? That's the fucking line where if something happens, I don't feel comfortable.
And when you get to his level and you're still worth something, like you try and make the most out of that, I suppose. He does have value, and quite frankly, it would be smart if Triple H was to get him as a sort of every once in a while guy, like a Brock Lesnar type character to pop in a few times a year. I think you could absolutely do that, or give him one one run where he doesn't get the belt. You can do that too. Give him it would be worth money, a lot of money, because regardless of if we like him or not, Punk sells tickets, he moves merch, he's a needle mover, and one of the last ones left. And Triple H 100%, if it's best for business and all that, Triple H 100% should hire him if he can.
Just don't know what he's gonna say and do.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. And that needs to be in the contract somewhat as well, is that if you don't play ball, then
do you think this was so Trips saying that in an interview 2 years ago?
Yeah.
Do you think this is all the master plan? He's like, go to AEW, do your fucking I'm back, fucking win the belt, go off, have some shit go down, eventually get fired, quit, or be able to be a free agent,
restart your career. Let them pay you to restart your career, and then we get you back.
Sure, it works.
And then we get you back later down the road.
And Trips is like, and during that time, I will leak some things about Vince, and I promise that I will be in charge.
Yeah. By then, I will be in charge.
This is the most shady business shit.
I have already paid Cody to start this company.
Yeah.
And he will be back by then.
God damn it, dude. Now, yeah.
God damn it. We should just start a wrestling conspiracies podcast. Like, that might a separate show. Amazing. We should start a wrestling conspiracies.
And we should pretend it's real.
Yes.
Like Dave Meltzer and Joey Janela.
So how did you feel with the when you I don't know if you watched it live, but the real big sort of moment with Hangman and Mox, like, we'll just get to that now. Thank God he's okay, but I'm just gonna go ahead and I watched it live, and I'm gonna go ahead and say I thought it was a work at first. I thought it was all a work.
For like the first 2 minutes, minute and a half, 2 minutes, I thought it was a work, and then I was like,
okay,
fuck.
I felt like an asshole, like, after the fact, you know, but I did.
Yeah, I kind of did too, but
I jumped to
he got
work.
Rocked though.
He did, and watching it back, it, you know, and I understand it too. Like, one of the key things in that, if it was a work, they would have shown you that replay over and over. They never showed the replay on the live feed. They might have once.
They showed it once.
They might have showed it once.
Once in slow motion, and it was fucking rough.
But it's still, like, I didn't quite grasp it at the time, to be honest. And
because it looked like a normal Hangman Mox like thing they would have done. Like, they come in, you flip backwards. Yeah,
we've seen so many wrestlers do this. We've seen so many wrestlers at this point. I mean, and not to say it's a good thing, but we've seen so many wrestlers land on their neck and be all right. And we all go, ooh, you know, and it's like, we just have to give them the faith, like Kenny Omega in some of those matches. We just have to give him the faith that he knows what he's doing. He is being safe because he knows his body. And I just figured that was what was going on with Hangman at the time. And, you know, not to say it didn't look fucking gnarly, and it did. And Moxley, I don't know, like, is Moxley, I don't think that Moxley's to blame. But
no, I don't think Mox, I think I think he came in hard. I think
he came in very hard.
But I think that's what he does. I think there was something with the way Hangman was set up, and I think maybe he was supposed to, like, his arms just didn't come up. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Or he didn't like I think he, like, maybe leaned into it a bit as opposed to, like, going with it with the force. I think I don't think there's anyone at fault here, and that's what like Hangman even said it the next day, right? He said, he tweeted out, like, hey, I appreciate this, and he did say, I appreciate John. You know, he called him out, and dude, Mox wasn't doing that on purpose. And Mox
I was never saying that. I was never saying that or implying that. But at the same time, I was wondering if it's just like, oh, did Moxley get too into character, you know, and, like, really fucking, like, you know, whoa, you know, I don't think that's the case, because I think it's a
really good match.
It was gonna, man, it's gonna
be a banger, man.
it's going to set up a 2 and 3 real well. I mean, if all being well, knock on wood, that Hangman's good. It's just, I mean, it was scary, like, after the fact, like, to really realize, like, oh shit, like, yeah, that could have been bad. But it was then interesting with the delays on Dynamite to what they had to do to kind of fill the time. And then it leads to the next question: was what MJF came out and said, was that always going to be said at the end of that match? Did they change the trajectory based on that finish, or were they stalling, figuring out what they were going to do to kind of move into, all right, now what do we do with MJF? What are your thoughts?
If they were stalling and they were trying to figure it out, they figured it out pretty fucking quick.
Yeah.
But which means that so there was a point in my life, I will never feel more white than this, where I was young Jeezy, now known as Jeezy. I was his joint and blunt roller in Colorado.
I remember you telling me about that. Yeah.
So yeah, I would go to the studio, go to Red Rocks, hang out on his tour bus, everything. He called me Samson. He would give me like a bunch of Avion tequila. Him and Mark Cuban own a tequila company. I watched Lone Ranger. No, what was it? I don't know. Some movie with fucking Bradley Cooper with a sniper. That one. It started skipping on the bus with him and this rapper YG. And so then they put on Inception, and then hearing Jeezy try and explain the synopsis of Inception to YG was fucking hilarious. But beyond that, so I just rolled him joints all the time, right?
Oh, yeah,
and that's all I did, right? And so but the first time I did it, I was in the studio and I brought him a bunch of weed. Legally, of course, it was in Colorado, just between two homies. And so I brought him a bunch of weed, and like I was in the studio and like sitting there, and so he's talking to me. So I rolled up, never felt more white. Like when I said, he started like rapping over a freestyle, and then he like looked at me and he's like, hey, like that. And I was like, oh shit. And I was like, always keep one on deck. A little white guy baseball reference.
Yeah.
And he's like, always keep one in the chamber. And I was like,
oh, well, yeah.
It just got real. All right. Yeah. All right, cool. We're both from Atlanta, dude. So anyway, but that would mean that Tony Khan always had one in the chamber, and if something happens, which I wonder how much. That's a good question, which we can take to another time, is like
how
bookers
much
and promoters.
Yeah, bookers and promoters, how many like exit plans?
B,
do they have plan Bs? Do they have exit plans if something does go wrong with X person? Because I imagine that Vince and I think the Vince and the WWE structure absolutely kind of does. Like, they might not be like apparent, but they're like, well, if Roman were to literally like get hit by a bus today,
or like his quad goes out in the middle of a match,
right? Then we're putting it on Seth Rollins.
Yeah,
because he
used the.
I mean, there's a million things.
Gumption last night.
Oh, did he? He's stealing one of our terms, gumption.
He is stealing one. Yeah, he said it. He was at commentary.
He must listen. Yeah. He must listen. Gumption junction.
He must listen. But I think we should explore that at some point.
No,
I think
that is an interesting concept. It's an interesting concept with what bookers do and how many exit plans they have. I suppose it's at the disposal of how many people you have on your roster, and how rich you are.
And what your storylines right? Like, what is your long-term booking? Right. I think that's maybe how you do it. It's like, what is your long-term?
Before
that happens,
I mean, let's talk about it real quick then. This is exactly kind of what's happened with Andrade, right? Having to be suspended because of the backstage incident with Sammy. And it seems like both of them are suspended. So Andrade...
Sammy's wrestling tomorrow night.
Oh, is he? Yeah. No, yeah, I think maybe it's kind of running out, but they were for a bit. Either way, it seemed like Andrade got the bulk of that. And Andrade, and maybe rightfully so, it sounded like he did kind of jack him. Who knows? I don't know. I didn't see it. I wasn't there. Don't know the details. But what I'm saying is, as quick as Andrade was gone, they literally just thread Rush in to all the matches that Andrade was going to have. Like, they literally just did that. And they did the same story, they just put Rush in there. So like that was an easy one that doesn't always happen, right? Like where it's like you're in a stable, but stables make it easier because you can make the argument
Because
that,
you at least,
hey, this guy is out, he can't do it, this guy can.
but our group has still the same mission,
Right.
which is to
Right.
take you out or whatever it is, right? And I think that I definitely agree with that, and I think that's a really good example what you just said. To bring it back to what you were asking about with MJF, I think he was going to come out. Like I think the
so
way
too.
the way I was timing it, watching that match live, I was looking at it and seeing how much time was left, and it seemed like they had put on a pretty good showing, but it was about to like pick up the pace, and then there were going to be a couple of like false finishes. Something was going to happen, and I don't know if MJF was going to get involved and make them both look strong, or if Mox was just going to win. But one way or another, MJF was getting inserted into that.
MJF was not going to win the belt that night. I don't think the cash-in was going to happen. I think all along, because you wouldn't risk him with the selling of the pay-per-view that they must have already had in their heads of Full Gear with Mox and him. Maybe it wasn't Mox and him. Maybe it was Hangman and him. But it feels like it was Mox and him because of all the Regal stuff. Unfortunately, Hangman was going to lose that match, I believe. And that I do believe that MJF was going to come out and say almost the same exact thing. They might have had to go back over it in the back and, okay, what were you about to say? Maybe let's revise it. That's like add a couple things into it.
Mox say some things beforehand where he's like, hey, I hope he's okay. Like that's, but I agree with you. I think that was it, because before that happened, if I'm remembering correctly, they did show the box where he usually is, and they're like, oh,
and he
he's
wasn't
not up
there.
The spotlight was on there. So I think that was part of the story.
And he, absolutely, it was part of the story. It was always going to be the tease of, is he going to cash it in now? And that almost played in. They played into that tease when after Hangman got legitimately hurt, he came out with it. With it, and he was never gonna do it that night, but they played with that, and that was maybe what they were almost discussing in the back as well, is to how do we play with that to make that translate, to make that work for this, because right now would be a great time, really, but is it, for MJF to come down and challenge John Moxley?
So let's tease it. No, I love that. I will say, I think that whole, I was taking notes during it, but that whole Dynamite was fucking awesome.
It was a really good Dynamite.
And for
Jericho Dalton Castle was
fucking great.
My boy too. I love Dalton Castle. Always been a fan. The Party Peacock, that motherfucker is gonna stuff you like a goose. I love everything about that motherfucker. So he didn't look out of place with Jericho. He didn't. The two of them were on the same charisma level, the same like hype level. I felt like, man, Dalton, that was the best Dalton Castle showing that we've had on AEW television.
It was really good. The whole thing was, the opening with the trios match, and I get it, they were on a Tuesday. They were also, luckily, it was not planned, but luckily that MLB game got pushed. So it was, they had a fucking New York Yankees game lead in to that, which was fucking great. And I think everyone was hoping it was going to go extra innings or whatever, just so it was led up. But even regardless, that's a great lead in. Then you have that trios match to open it, which is fucking amazing. The second match, and I will say this because I wrote notes on it because I have to definitely shit on the fucking women's division in AEW. Fucking good match. And I will say, I haven't, all right, let me rephrase that. I've not shit on the women's, I've shit on a lot of the women wrestlers because a lot of them I just don't buy. Some of them have really good movesets, but they don't have good characters. Some of them have good characters, but don't have really good movesets, right? But for some, and I would have said this, I've told you, I fucking hate Toni Storm's music, which kind of makes me hate her.
Yep.
But and also Sheeta, like that match, fucking great match. And the way that they brought all of the women out towards the end of it was a great fucking showing for the AEW women's division.
I would agree completely, and I definitely think that Toni Storm is heads and shoulders of where Thunder Rosa was when 100%. She got injured. Toni Storm is that fucking champion right now, and maybe Jamie Hayter is the next competitor in line and the one that should take it from her. I like that. Britt needs to be left out of the scene for a while, to be honest, and focus on like a kind of legacy feud of some sort. Yeah. But right now, Toni Storm is that champion, is like that. That is probably what Tony Khan wanted in Ruby.
Oh yeah, I forgot Ruby's around.
Remember?
Well, she's not. Yeah,
but I think that's what he wanted in Ruby. She wanted that
hard hitting, little bit of edge,
and she sucked
can also
dicks in the ring. Like, of course, not literally, but
and Tony can do it. What did she suck dicks in the ring? But
watch it.
But I will say that Toni Storm. I had to let the music go because I hate it so much, which means I probably hate Heart. But
it's just it's a very shitty version of Barracuda and by Heart, and it's not. I don't think it's
but she's good. But she's good in the ring.
No, she is good in the ring.
She's a good fucking champion. I'll give her that.
And the character is coming together now as well.
The character is 100% coming together.
And it's been a very good hire by Tony Khan. I'll give him that. Let's just backtrack a little bit too, because we totally failed to even give any sort of analysis or thoughts on the MJF and Regal promo. And
I knew we were going to get there, but thank God. Holy shit. I will say this, for as much as we're about to fucking gloat over it and say how good it was, I will say there was a moment where MJF was going a little too long, and I think he like could have stuck the landing like 2 minutes before, and he kept, and I was like, and I was like, now you've overdone it. And like now I
didn't feel that. I didn't feel that.
But beyond any of that, I thought the rest of it was amazing. But I had that moment.
The word
I forget where it was.
I see. I didn't really think that it was certainly not 2 minutes too long. Like that's definitely not the case. Like that's must
in
be
the
an
way
over-exaggeration.
he was in the way not lengthwise in time in like context of like time of the show. I'm saying in the way he was like saying, like he could have stopped a while and still made the exact same point.
Yeah, I think he's also. I think it's important for him because he needs to show that he's that cocky to let it breathe. I think it's. I don't know. I felt like the wordplay within it had me so captivated. It could have gone on another 10 minutes, and I still would have been there. So I can't, and I think the ratings were pretty, good for it as well. So I don't know. I can't say that you're right. You're entitled to your, preference or what have you. But the two of them toe to toe just feel like perfect adversaries, but perfect partners. And that's where it gets back to even further, where with this match at Full Gear with MJF and Mox, I'm going to ask the question, how do you see it happening? I think MJF becomes champion and William Regal aligns with MJF.
But because we're already seeing the breaks obviously with Yuta and Danielson.
Yeah.
So
where does it leave Claudio? But
swinging in the wind
like he always has been. Yeah,
he'll be fine.
He will.
He'll be fine. He'll be fine. He doesn't need Blackpool Combat Club to do what he's doing.
No,
he doesn't. It's great to be associated, but he doesn't need them. He can still do amazing things and like continue. I think that's actually good for him to come in, then for him to be in Blackpool Combat Club, and then now for that, if it starts going away, he can go back on his own. I think that's perfect.
And also, I think the
because he's not overshadowed by.
Let's not forget he won the Ring of Honor championship right away, and
exactly,
and so with the rumors, which we'll get to later, as far as some of that stuff, as far as like, it sounds like they might have a streaming deal or something with Ring of Honor, or some sort of like actual brand separation. He's the guy that would be on the Ring of Honor side, would he not?
100%.
Yeah.
He'd be a top guy in Ring of Honor.
Yeah, and that's maybe what they're thinking, but I think I stepped on your point. But like,
I don't
just the whole. I guess the whole just
trying to make a point, except that
the whole MJF Mox, like that, how it works
that it would,
with Regal.
Yeah, I was just saying it would work for Claudio. I don't think he would lose anything. I think he would actually gain it because, like you said, he won the Ring of Honor, then he joined Blackpool, and now he could be on his
Mox's
own
vacation. It gives Mox's vacation. It gives Danielson, the chance to step up into that kind of like top tier role as well.
Yeah.
I
think that you then get a really good playing of someone who's the champion, someone who still has that ring, and then someone like Regal who's trying to like curtail him, someone who's trying to like rein him in a little bit and be like, hey, you don't need to be this, right? Like, it's like, so they're so good together, and like when they do it together, they're amazing. But then there's this like separateness where like there's this little bit of tension, right? Where he wants him to pull back and be a gentleman a little more, right? And then MJ, and like, so there's a tension between them as he's the champion on his run. I think it's great.
I think there's something there. I think there's something you can do with that. And yes, they are both excellent talkers. They don't need, MJF does not need William Regal, and Regal does not need MJF. But
I will say
two
Regal
of them together just they would be so dynamic, I think, together. And like, there's something, you'd get a bit of the old evil Regal out of him as well.
100. Oh, maybe that's how you get him to go.
That's like, I think what you do, right? I think that's what you kind of got to do.
I think that's it. Yeah. But I
One last time, Tony.
One last time.
I can't do a Regal. Hang on. He's quite. I can't do his accent.
Dude,
I can't get it.
Like, all right,
sunshine. All right, sunshine.
I love that where he calls him Sunshine. And so when he
scrum. Tony Khan, tell you what. Have me one more time. Have me. I got it now. Have me one more time. Do it heel. Let me do it heel one more time, Tony Khan. Come on. Why not?
I didn't know I was interviewing William
Regal. Scrummy.
Dude, that was good.
Yeah,
that was really
I got
good.
him. He got there in the end.
No, you did, dude. Like, that last little bit was it. That was him. There were times in that promo where MJF was just going off and like, see the veins at his fucking forehead, right? And like, credit where credit's due, the way Regal played it, when they would cut to his facial expression and stuff, there were moments where like I thought for a second like he's got nothing, right? And I was like, because MJF is so intense right now, I was just like, he almost played dumbfounded a couple of times.
He did.
And that's the thing, and then comes in with this like eloquent, like, I don't even know what accent that was, but like an eloquent, like yeah, right? Like he belongs in Snatch or something.
Yeah, sunshine. Let me tell you, Tulip. Back in my day, you see.
Yeah.
We were at the camps. We were there. We were at the camps. 6 matches a day. 6 matches a day it was. Back in them days.
Was.
Back in them days. 60 quid on a good one. On a good one.
Good one.
On a good one.
Good one. I don't even know.
6 matches a
Quid
day.
is.
You bloody email. Bloody email. Is that it?
Bloody email.
Bloody email.
Write me a letter.
Turn you into this. Well, I did my job then, didn't I, darling?
Yes. Didn't I, darling?
That's a pretty good Regal. I'm getting my Regal down.
Dude, you've got a pretty good Regal. I can't do it. I'm not going to attempt to.
Yeah. And that one's he's gotta go soft.
Soft, but a little raspy and a little low, but not too low, not too raspy, right?
No, darling. No.
I'd rather you call me Sunshine.
Sunshine. I love Sunshine.
Now this is like a weird ASMR.
Yeah, it is. All right, we'll move on. We'll talk about more wrestling. So I do think Regal will turn eventually. I think it will, cause the breakup of, the whole Blackpool Combat Club. I think that needs to happen eventually anyway. That being said, let's switch gears a little bit onto some interesting events going on with the WWE, actually. So, the OC is back in the old Gallows and Anderson are hanging around.
Did you see what happened last night?
I did indeed. I did. And it was...
Dude, I was actually hyped when it happened. I was watching live. I was like, holy shit.
Here's the deal. I get what they're doing with Gallows and Anderson this time, and it's exactly what they should have been doing with them from the start. They're lovable goons. They're lovable goons can get that can get a win every once in a while, but they're lovable
like Bebop
goons.
And Rocksteady.
Yes. AJ's always going to be the best. He's always going to be like, "Oh, guys, what you do?" Like,
he's the splinter of the fucking group.
Yep. That's what they're doing.
No, Shredder.
The Shredder, and they're his Bebop and Rocksteady.
Yeah, I fucking love it.
Dude, that's exactly what they're doing. And they're going to be comic relief. They're going to get to do, all the stuff of, Luke Gallows saying, how he's so good with women, and, he's going to get someone to take care of Rhea.
And both of them were like, he is not good with women at all. I was actually thinking that Karl Anderson was going to say something about his hot Asian wife. He wanted to. Yep.
But no, I think they're doing something cool with this. It's gonna help put the Judgment Day over, but I also think they're gonna get the odd win. There's gonna be the odd thing that they can do. You can insert those guys kind of anywhere in the next couple of years. Have a mid-card feud with a tag team or whatever. They're going to be goons. They're just tied to AJ the entire time.
That's all they need. That's all they need. They'll be great, and they will be great. They'll be entertaining, but they'll be amazing. I will say Damian Priest, he looks like he's cosplaying fucking Biker Taker for Halloween.
Hey, he is.
With all this shit. And he has the purple, the black.
Rhea with a body slam on Gallows is something else, though.
Dude, are you fucking kidding me?
That's something else. And the two of them talked about that. You could see him. You think you could do it?
Dude, she didn't even look like she was fucking straining to do it.
She didn't.
She looked strong as shit. It looked real good.
It did.
It looked Rhea good.
That was when I feel the first time I saw that was with China. When China I can't remember who it was, but it was probably a cruiserweight. It was somebody, but it was the first time that I saw her just absolutely one motion, the perfect motion, that like the strength, that like no struggle. Like I've seen plenty of women pick up a dude and like throw him right in wrestling. But to like
that big
look
and to
at
hold the, but like
Luke Gallows is a big man. How heavy is Luke Gallows?
He didn't even jump in
340.
Like,
he's got to be over 300. He's close to it. 320, something like that.
294 is what I'm gonna
call. Bullshit, Luke. Yeah.
What are you calling?
I'm calling 320.
320. I said 294. 268, 291. We both lose.
All right. I mean, still, it's pretty close.
It's a big dude.
It's a big dude. 291 pounds.
Dude, I left my dog into the car because she can't jump in anymore.
Yeah.
She's fucking 70 pounds.
It's ridiculous.
And like, still, I'm like, oh, my fucking back.
So I don't know. I want to hate it. I kind of love everything about this OC Judgment Day thing. Do you see Sour Boy back there? Oh, he was Sour Boy. Sour Boy from BTE, Karl Anderson.
Oh,
he was back. He was back there with ice in his dick, and he was doing Sour Boy. He was his.
Yeah.
You know.
Yep.
No one fucking hates Sour Boy. It is fun to see them just have it. It's fun to see them having fun, I guess. We got a comment on the Facebook group about Theory with his beard.
Saw that.
And I'm gonna go ahead and say I think I'm pro Theory beard.
I'm more pro Theory beard than I'm pro Theory not beard. I'm also still not into Theory.
That's kind of exactly the way I feel about him. But he does still have the Money in the Bank briefcase, and he did show up on NXT television to challenge. Who knows? He hasn't challenged anybody, but he has gone.
He did, but then he showed back up on Raw.
He did. I think that's the perfect way around the situation, though, because he's not taking it from Roman, and it's stupid if he challenges for any mid-card belt. So it would actually work if he were to go back to NXT and be I'm going to be the new face, the new beard of NXT, and I'm going to fucking, win that shit. And
that seems like a Trips call.
It does.
And I'm actually for it. And I'm for it, though, because he will make a star out of him. Not that he but now is the chance, especially, and I
actually think he's the right guy to be a face of NXT. He's the right guy to be a face of NXT.
100%, especially because he had Vince's backing.
Yep.
Then Vince retired, right? And now he has this. He has the Money in the Bank. It's the perfect way to get him to the top of NXT while knowing that he can still pull numbers and views on Raw or SmackDown, whatever, but it's mainly been Raw, I think. But I think that's the way you could also very easily have him put someone else over in NXT and then bring him back up, but let him have a little run, let it bring a little bit more credibility to him because he has a title reign now, right? He can call himself this, he can call himself that, but he could show up on Raw still with the NXT title, right? That would be
great.
He still show up, and
they should do that. We've always said, I think we've always agreed that there should be more interchange between NXT and the main roster. There should be the odd occasion where a North American Championship,
like Halloween Havoc, and yeah,
and I think that's a really, really good idea. Do we want to maybe take a quick break? Because we will be joined by our friend Duncan in the near future, and we can take a quick break, and then we can kind of get him into maybe some of the Bray Wyatt conversations and other things that I know that he would like to probably talk about. So I think it's probably about the right time. We're about 50 minutes in, so we'll take a quick break, and we will be right back with more Let me figure it out. You know, if he's gonna be like 20 minutes, then fuck no. But if it's gonna be,
we'll start.
Then we'll start. And he can join. But
he can do her, and then he'll do a run in, and
yeah. But now we're nicely refreshed. You know, for a second segment of the show.
I'll grab myself another little tall claw.
Yeah, do that. I like tall claws.
Dude, me too. Have you tried these watermelon ones?
I love the watermelon. Watermelon's a good flavor. Me too.
I put this in the freezer before the show. It's man. Great.
Yeah. Then you're talking my language now, man. You're talking my language. We're gonna get out of here for just a second. Have some disco music. We'll take a break. Aha. Yeah. ONWrestling.com, patreon.com/ONRS, 407-906-6466 if you're inclined to call or leave a voicemail. Don't forget about ONO Radio Show, ONORadioshow.com, Facebook.com/groups/ONO Wrestling if you're into that. And, at Owen Butler, I guess, is my Twitter if you want to say hi to me. Whatever. Do the wrestling. Coming in hot. Look at Bella. She be in there. She be on the Oh No Wrestling podcast. That's right. That's right. We took a little break, but we're back. Bella is Matthew's dog, of course. Matthew, you dancing with your dog over there?
Dancing with my dog on break.
Oh,
I don't smoke cigarettes, so I got to do something.
Yeah,
refilled my drink.
It keeps you occupied. Keeps you occupied. So let's just hop right into it because I'm sure people want to hear our thoughts on kind of this this Bray Wyatt scenario. And it is like kind of top of the talk of top of the town of the talk of the wrestlings. And the big thing that I saw this week is that Bray now is listed backstage as the number one babyface on SmackDown. And I wanted to just get your initial thoughts on all that.
So before I answer that, can I roll it back for a second to
Please do.
You text me about Bray's promo.
Ah, yes.
And you said, have you seen Bray's promo? Or no, maybe we were talking that night.
We might have been.
I don't remember. But I think you texted me, then we talked, and then I said, like, I can't, I was like, I can't, and then I was like, I have to do this, this, and this, and you were like, hang up the phone, watch it, call me back.
Watch the entrance
and you're
promo.
Like, you're like, I know you were like, I know you have like 30 minutes to talk, so how about you hang up the fucking phone, watch the shit,
watch the 8-minute clip, and then let's talk. Exactly. That's exactly what we did because I wanted you to see the presentation of this new Bray. I wanted you to see, like how this new guy was coming back at like post Extreme Rules, like his first like shot, like was that on SmackDown or was that on Raw? Fuck, I think it was on SmackDown. I think it was on SmackDown. It was on SmackDown.
I think it had to be.
Yeah, it's on SmackDown.
But I think that because you text me while I was watching it, you said work or not. right?
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, I think a lot of people were asking that
and
question with that promo.
it was his fucking accent, man.
Mm.
He leaned too hard into the accent, which may be great for the character, but that's what proved it was a work for me. But yeah, exactly. But I will not discredit him by any fucking means and say that he did not have emotion and truth built into that, because I think he is the type of guy.
You got a little bit of that flutter in your throat that will take you there.
Yeah, dude, if I'm going down to the bayou,
to the darkest places in the world.
I figure someone's gonna sell me on some shit, and they're gonna sell me in the way they talk, the way they feel, the way they do it when they know they're spinning me some fucking black magic, right? Like that, but like they believe in parts of it, but they don't believe
whether or
in
not
all
it's
of it, right?
whether or not it's real, whether or not it made, like, whether or not that's like him acting or that's coming from like the actual heart. I don't think
Definitely him.
I don't think that even matters, because he made us feel how he wanted us to feel. I think there's some real big truth to that, because whether, like, and that's any actor, right? Where does it matter if the end goal is achieved? If the end goal is to make you feel slightly uncomfortable and also very like, this man is a little vulnerable, and he.
But did you feel uncomfortable? I didn't feel uncomfortable.
Uncomfortable? Probably no. I didn't. No, you're right. I didn't. I felt more apathetic to the character.
That's a better word, like, I think. That word resonates with me a little more. But if you, I'm not saying no, you're wrong.
Right. You're right. You're right.
I just thought I'd ask.
I think for younger audiences, maybe there's that creepy factor. That there's that little bit of like that. There's more of that, because
I like the little bit of like kind of preacher-ish, and then the laugh at the back at it, right? Like it is like a little like back and forth, right? It's like,
yeah,
I'm gonna show you the light, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do that. It's almost like cult leader-ish, right? It's like, again, back to Bray.
But it was subdued. It was definitely a more subdued version of that laugh, the things that he did, but in a much more real, like this was something that felt very, very, very real, and it was like, I'm gonna make a weird analogy here. Do you watch It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia? I think you do, right?
Of course.
Listen, right.
To the podcast, I do it all, bro.
So without like, there's an episode in, I can't remember what season, but where essentially one of the characters, Mac, comes out really is gay, and he does a full ballet routine under soaking water, and it's a phenomenal piece of like television history, really, is what it should be looked at. But this was Bray Wyatt's Mac scene. This was and nothing to do with homosexuality, of course. This was like the performance piece. This was expressing what he really has wanted to express this whole time. And why I say that is because he's not only connecting with what the kayfabe character is, much like Mac is doing, but he's also connecting with the audience in a different way. And he's connecting with the audience at home in their seats. Like we're getting it in the kayfabe. We're getting it in two ways, right? We're getting it in kayfabe in the storyline, but we're also getting it in the real life way. And I think that's the genius of what is going on with Bray. And I also sent you. Sorry, you can respond. I'm stepping all over you, but
no, you're not stepping all over me at all. That you're on a roll, so you can keep going if you want to, and I'll hold on to.
Well, it also, that whole point comes into why I sent you a text earlier this week that Bray Wyatt and MJF are almost the same characters, and they are both playing at the very same game. They are playing with our heartstrings of heel or face. They are playing with Jew boy and things that, you know, you've got very evil, sadistic side of MJF and the heartbreak that he's had and the viciousness that he's been put under. Bray Wyatt's been doing the same goddamn thing. And he's now playing with the heartstrings. I think that Bray saw what they're doing with MJF and said, okay, let me do that and let me do that in my way. And whether that's planned or not, that's up to you to decide. But I think it was a retaliation on the MJF character to have Bray be presented as much in this way. I'm not saying it wasn't going to happen to a certain degree without MJF, but I think that they amped it up because of some of MJF's promos as of late. And he's becoming... Because MJF is also... We talked about being sadistic heel with William Regal, but MJF is also being presented in a way where he was going to shake Wheeler Yuta's hand. He didn't punch William Regal in the back of the head.
He's also fucking begging the crowd. When the crowd starts going off, he's calling it in with his arms and his hands.
He is not being a traditional heel.
No, not at all. All right, so there's a lot to fucking unpack here. There's a lot to fucking unpack here. I'm gonna do my best to fucking just give you my 2 cents.
I rant. Real quick. I rant. You rant.
Yeah. So my 2 cents, real quick. I think I love what you said. I think that the Bray character that we're seeing right now, I think you had to bring him back in this sort of way because when he was the Fiend, he didn't talk. So you had to allow him to talk. Now, to the extent that you allowed him to talk, was that influenced by MJF and AEW? I think definitely that's a part to it. I think you hit a nail on the head there. I think there's a part to it, but I do think the plan was to play on this opposite side of the coin, right? Like as above, so below. Like you can't have one without, you can't have light without dark. You can't have matter without non-matter, those types of things, right? So I think that, I will say, I think that that's where Bray is ahead of the game. I think, like, psychologically speaking, the way he's planned his character and what he wants to do, I think for a long time,
I think he's probably
this dark and light and, like, this whole juxtaposition.
Character-wise, Bray is ahead of MJF. Storyline-wise, MJF is ahead of Bray Wyatt.
Wrestling-wise, too. That's what I was going to get to. Yeah. I think that's where I'd like to see Bray. Wyndham, what have you been doing in your off season? You look good.
I didn't think you looked bad. I didn't think you looked bad.
But anyone can look good, stand around. Like, I want to see you in a match. MJF, we all know, can fucking go. Anytime he's going to get in the ring, unless it's a squash, right? Where he's going to show up and squash someone on a fucking Rampage or Dynamite, right? Like he's going to, other than that, he's putting on a good match because he can wrestle. Not saying Wyndham can't wrestle, because he can, but I will say that I believe MJF is the better wrestler.
Oh, without a doubt.
Now.
Without a doubt.
But so I would like to see, what I would really like to see, because there's a huge opportunity here with Bray. Did he pick up some things? Did he fucking go to school and like do some work on his own, right? Like do some shit where he's just like, even if he just kicked it up a half step or a full step,
I don't think that's what you're gonna get.
I would be fucking stoked, and that's what I want. And if I get that, I'm fucking happy. I'm fucking super happy because he has the character, the story. He is one of the best storytellers in character works that we've ever seen. The fact that they've allowed him to do certain things, like remember when he did the Firefly Funhouse and those things, Mania with Cena and stuff, even with the Vince McMahon puppet. Like imagine now what Trips may or may not allow him to do, like to be this character.
I think that must have already for him to even be there back there again must have been a lot of money and probably a certain amount of creative control over that character. What I will say about Bray is that Bray doesn't need to wrestle. He doesn't need to wrestle a lot. Like, he needs to wrestle, but doesn't need to wrestle a lot. Like, you can make this thing essentially a Brock Lesnar type character, a 5 times a year in the ring, a 4 or 5 times a year.
So let me ask you this. Do you make him now? And this might be,
I think it's better for his character if you do like not have him wrestle.
Yeah, no, but like in this day and age. So what I'm getting at now, in this day and age, we all focus on mental health and everything. Like, I go to therapy, like I'm very, open about that and everything. Like, now you have like your shadow work and you have your light work, right? Like, what are you doing here? And then what happens? And what happens when you get triggered, right? Like, when something happens, do you think that's almost an ingenious way to, one, keep the fan base you have while also bringing in a younger fan base, because you're hitting on a subject and you're portraying it in a dramatic, theatrical way that is now exposing it to a larger audience. I think that would be a very good way for this to go down.
That's another way he compares to MJF. They're playing with the mental health aspect of things. The mental health aspect of things, you can say it started with Hangman Page, but it's been around for a very, very long time. Hell, you can go back to drinking issues with goddamn Hawk in storylines. Yeah. That's not like a new concept, but this new reimagining of being sensitive to this, like so sensitive to it, is like, I think something that they are playing with. I think MJF is doing it fantastically, and I think that there is something to Bray Wyatt's character that is playing with this mental health aspect. That's why he has to be a babyface. That's why, like, I think so too. That's why he has to be, because like there's something there that will one day, and I'm gonna say it. I didn't think this even a few weeks ago, and there's nothing really, to prove it to me other than how much they're spending on this and how much they seem to believe in this. But I think WWE is preparing Bray to be the one to take the belt off of Roman. I think he will be at least one of the brand's champions. Cody maybe on the other hand when they separate the belts. I don't know how they get there. There's there's a lot of different ways. I've talked about the triple threat ladder match and the falling off.
How about this whole new concept? Didn't think about it until now, until you just said this.
Okay.
Whole new concept. He wins both, but the Fiend has one and and Bray has the other.
That's something that they can do. They could absolutely, with a split personality type of character like that, absolutely make work. And you know what can also work is the idea that what's his brother's name? Bo.
Oh my God, sorry. That's how you do fucking Bo Dallas. Sorry, that's how you do cross branding too. Like he gets like triggered by something, so he shows up as the demon on fucking Raw, or Bray on the other one because of what's being said to him. Because the way he's internalizing things and processing it or projecting things.
No, I don't. I think you can even go a step further. You can bring Bo in, and I think you can have Bo as the Fiend, and and you can also show that it's Bo. Like we're not doing like double but no. Now you've become the Fiend. And now you're back. Like there's a story that you can tell with brothers and things like that.
Am I my brother's keeper at the end of it all?
Yeah. And they can feud with each other, and like you can keep belts out of the question. But realistically, if it's not Cody, I mean, we've talked about this every week for weeks and weeks, but the Fiend does seem like a likely way to get the belt off Roman, because now it's at least something supernatural, and now you're like really putting over this next thing. Like it does at least.
I think you just nailed it there. That's it. Because I think you could have it as Bray versus Roman, and in the middle of the match, he turns into the Fiend.
Yeah.
And it fucks Roman up. And like Roman doesn't agree, and like all of a sudden he's like, what the fuck is this? And then there's fire and shit.
And then you can have fucking Huskus the Pig or something fucking beating up Solo Sequoia. I don't know. But
yeah.
I mean, if you really were to go with the Wyatt 6 too, and like if you built a real stable around it, you could.
I haven't heard a lot about that lately either.
It seems like that
we talked about it.
Yeah, it seems like that's kind of dropped off a bit. But that could, who knows about that? Like, we know for a fact that those dudes from Impact, what are they called? We talked about it last week.
We talked about it like 2 podcasts.
Yeah, 2 podcasts ago. We know they were backstage. The Righteous is what they're called. They're called the Righteous. Yeah. They were backstage. They could just be friends with somebody. It could be coincidence, but they would be such a perfect fit into, a Bray Wyatt type stable, a cult stable. It doesn't really feel like that's the way that they're going, though. Like, I feel for once like they might actually have an idea, and they're not just gonna go.
Well, and I think a lot of it is Bray's idea, right? And I think, or Wyndham's, I think it's a lot of his planning what he wants to do. I mean, the fact you just said it, which was he has a lot of creative control, and I think he wouldn't have come back if he didn't have a good amount of creative control. And I don't think it's 100%, but I think the odds lean heavily in his favor. And I think that with that, and with kind of this, let's call it a new regime backstage at WWE, I think you have everything capable to hit a fucking grand slam. Especially just think back to the last 5 minutes of us talking, 5-7 minutes, right?
Think about how many ideas we
things
just
you and I
came up with.
but all the different things we just got so excited about, right? Like, and so they're probably on such another level with it, and if they're not, I hope they're listening to this podcast, which we know they are.
They have,
and so they're gonna take a lot of it, which that's fine as long as the check clears my bank account, guys.
Well, let me ask you this, because this is another one that's under the same vein. It's like, is there a long plan, or are they just making it up as they go? And that's this whole deal with Dexter Lumis, The Miz, now Johnny Gargano.
And fucking Elias.
Elias, is he in there now too? Is he? Oh
yeah, dude. On last night,
I missed him in that. Yeah.
Yeah, no.
Elias is involved with the whole Miz Loomis thing.
So it was Miz versus Elias, and then Miz thought Dexter Lumis was ringside.
Oh, but it was Johnny. It was Johnny. I saw that.
It was Johnny. Yeah. But Johnny had been out early, so it did fuck with me. They got me there. I will say they did get me there. Every time I see Johnny Gargano, also, I'm gonna tell you, I fucking hate him now because you were like, you told me I'm the Johnny Gargano, and so I'm just not having it.
Yeah. Let's talk about him lately, because I mean, he seems to be involved in every feud on the roster, because he's also
get in where you fit in, man.
Yeah, because he's over there with Corbin, talking shit. Because I mean, this all right.
Which should we talk about?
Yes!
He's no longer. So I will say, fuck, what was the other last night? They called him Boring Corbin.
Yeah.
On commentary.
He's not happy.
Just as oh no, it was Seth. He called him Boring Corbin. I think.
Well, no, I think they pumped in some audio. Maybe, I don't know, but it seemed like maybe the crowd was chanting Boring Corbin, or that I don't know if that was WWE just making up shit like they do. Hope. Oh, we can see hope. Maybe this. If Seth says
obviously he's got the whole JBL thing going on, which I will say, I thought his promo last night was kind of, I don't know, I was not feeling it.
Well, this whole thing with JBL,
I don't need JBL. I don't need All right, here's the thing. It is October 25th in 2022. I do not need JBL on my fucking Monday Night Raw.
I kind of don't.
All.
It doesn't feel like it's right, but it's also feels like they do kind of fit together. I understand why they did it, but then you got JBL coming out in hammer pants. That was a good line. I forgot who said that, but
I think it was. Hold on. I think it was Gargano who said, "I don't know what to call you" when he's talking about Corbin. Someone said this. Last night.
Yeah. I don't know what to call you.
He was like, I don't know what to call you.
I don't know if you're happy or
sad. Happy, sad, boring. And he called him a bunch of things. And then he was like, or boring.
I can't remember who said it either. But it was fun. I don't know. It was a match. Like, here we go. Like, I guess the question is, we're getting the repackage of Baron Corbin with JBL. Oh, yeah. We're getting
I forgot we were talking about Gargano.
And then we're getting a repackage almost of Johnny Gargano as this. I mean, let's just be honest. Like, this is the version of Johnny Gargano Vince McMahon would have made. Like, the dancing with a cowboy hat on the desk, like fucking jobbing out to Corbin. Like,
he's also what Austin Theory would have been had not Austin Theory gotten that first shot with Vince McMahon.
So what are they doing with Gargano? Like, are they just is that like a new toy?
I don't know.
Is Triple H giving up on him? I think I don't know. Like,
I don't think he's giving up on him because he's giving him all these ins. I think he's just trying to figure out like where does he actually fit in. And like, how does he do it? But
it's probably going to be a Corbin Gargano program.
That's probably it. But that cowboy hat shit's hilarious.
But what's the Miz's secret then? Do they even know what? Do they even know what the Miz's secret is? Like, because this is the whole deal. Gargano seems to know the secret. He's over there. He's talking to Ciampa. He's like, Miz is like, oh, Ciampa, I can't get a hold of him. He seems like he disappeared.
Yeah,
Loomis took him.
He's like, oh, wait. He's like, well, I texted him right before I came out.
He says he's injured. And he can't show up.
He's not injured.
I hope it's a kayfabe injury and not like a real one.
Well, I mean, probably. So what do you do then? Ciampa Miz?
I
mean,
are they setting us up for a DIY reunion? That's kind of where I'm feeling
God damn it. Why'd you put that into the universe?
Because they are gonna do that, and that's.
I guess it already existed, but yeah.
Yeah, it feels like they probably will.
Yeah.
No,
they are.
Or like, but what's the Loomis connection? There's the Loomis Indy Hartwell thing. What's the Miz connection with that? Like,
They already just linked it with Loomis. They just linked it with Loomis and Gargano.
What do you mean?
Night. With Gargano pretending to be Loomis.
Yeah, but what does Miz know? What's the secret? Like, Miz has a secret that they're holding, like, and they're trying to get him to tell.
Maybe Miz knows Dexter Loomis is just doing this to be on Miz's team.
Did Miz hire Dexter Loomis?
Yeah. And this has all been, maybe that's the secret. This has all been a joke.
Yeah. Miz hired Dexter Loomis.
Like, Miz didn't have a program, so Miz created a program because Miz is must-see TV.
I like that. Yeah.
Right? So he's like, I'll create something of people, and now he's blurring the lines between Miz and Miz. Is it reality? Is it not reality?
And so we get to find out that, yes, he's basically, this could all like get into his Miz and Mrs. show too, and how like he is faking reality. I would love if Dexter
Loomis was showing up in the bushes.
Yes,
in the
on that show. I'd watch that show now.
Just me too. Just it's like, where's Waldo? Where's Dexter?
Yeah, it's genius. Actually, that's actually pretty good. That's not a bad idea at all. I like that concept.
I love that. We should sell that.
Well, hopefully they have something as decent as that like planned. I don't know that they do. Speaking of like weird reality shows, did you know that Lana is now on the Surreal Life, or CJ Perry, Miro's wife? She's
What's the Surreal Life?
So you remember that show? It was on in the early 2000s. I think it was early 2000s. They got a bunch of celebrities. It was like the Real World, and it was so fake.
The one where they went to rehab with Janice.
Nah, it was
Dickinson
before
on
the rehab one. This was the one.
Oh,
remember
like
when
Mini-Me?
Remember when Flavor Flav fell in love with the woman from
Did he?
Rock?
Hold on.
The woman
Hold
from
on.
Rocky
Can you
IV.
call it love? Can you call it love?
I mean, they had their own
fell into-
reality show after that. Like,
it was that.
remember
bitch,
the one
New
where
York?
Vern
New
Troyer,
York? Was that bitch New York?
Vern
from,
Troyer? Remember Vern Troyer was like got drunk?
New York
Remember?
had her own shit.
It was the show that Vern Troyer got drunk on. That's the show that
I'm
that's
looking this up.
Surreal
Hold on.
Life.
I'm
It was
Googling-
Surreal
Okay,
Life. There was a few seasons.
Okay, Surreal Life. That sounds like a thing. I'm not even gonna look it up. Surreal Life sounds. Yeah.
And then so like on this one, there's Frankie Muniz, Malcolm in the Middle. There's I know there's
All right, dude. We could do a whole podcast on him. I suggest
race car driving, like losing his memory and his all this stuff.
Losing his memory. He doesn't remember Malcolm in the Middle at all. So I will say, if you ever want to invite me back, I had a great time on Oh No Radio Show. Everyone go back and check out the episode I was
last
on,
week's
and
episode.
all episodes on Oh No Radio Show. But if you guys ever want to have me back on, I'd be happy to dig into. I'll do a bunch of research and see if I can figure out some shit.
We'll do a Muniz report.
Dude,
oh yeah, there's a lot going on there.
That shit baffles me, and he's also doing like really well now.
So I think he's definitely more vulgar and a little more pissed off. He's a little more pissy. Like on this Surreal Life.
Dude, I mean, he's fucking driving race cars and shit. Dude's not fucking around.
He's got Dennis Rodman's in the house showing his wang around everywhere, apparently. I think he's trying to bang Lana. Like, either way, Lana's on this reality show. And it just... What?
I thought you were saying Dennis Rodman is trying to bang Frankie Muniz.
You might be. I don't know. Who knows if he is? A little bit. This is my silly wrestling. This is my silly wrestling news. I like my silly wrestling news. Here's another one here. So Kurt Angle, apparently this popped up in my feed today. Kurt Angle loves the band Kiss. You know, apparently it's a thing. Kurt Angle loves the band Kiss. And
do you think the white on their face, the non-black, is milk flowing down?
I guess, I don't know, but he at one point wanted to and proposed to start a band with Chris Jericho.
What does Kurt Angle play?
I don't know. I love it. I think he's on keys, right? He looks like he might be a drummer. He's a drummer. He looks like
he's a hand drummer. He doesn't play with sticks.
I want Kurt Angle on harmonica.
Oh no, Kurt Angle is the dude in the Mighty Mighty Boss Tones who just dances.
Yeah! Oh yeah. Oh, I was gonna say he was in Mickey. Like he was like,
yeah.
Oh no, I just love Kurt Angle wanted to start a Kiss, like I don't know if it's a Kiss cover band, I don't know, but that would be cool.
Maybe he wanted to kiss Chris Jericho.
What do you think of the possibility of Logan Paul winning a crown jewel?
I don't think that's happening at all, unless there's like a lot of blood and a lot of money involved.
I don't think
but
so.
I think he's gonna put on a very good fucking showing. Do you see that picture of him doing that moonsault? Whatever. I mean, I guess you can take a bunch of rapid shots, like that one shot with him doing it. And I forget which wrestler he's talking about. He's like, "Thanks for the tips." It looked fucking good, and he's proven in the 2 matches that he's had that he's actually fairly good in the fucking ring, right? So I don't think that he's going to win. I think he's going to make Roman look even better than he has in the recent past, because all we've seen him wrestle is fucking Lesnar. So he's going to do some things that are going to be a little different. But is he going to win? No.
I have weird I have a weird thing about this. I think I definitely don't think that Logan Paul is gonna be the new champion or anything, but I have a theory that they're gonna put on like a really good match. And
they're gonna put on a banger, dude, because he's about to go back into that other UFC. Logan Paul is,
and I think they're gonna protect the hell out of him, and I think that the Bloodline's gonna have to cheat to win the match. And I think this is a Sammy moment. Do you get Sammy to go to?
That's it.
That's
it.
Here's the deal, though. Do you get him to go to Saudi Arabia? Because I don't think in the past he was one of those. Not gonna
happen.
I don't think you're getting him to go over there. So it's solo.
I think we're gonna see that Logan's gonna hit Roman, knock him down, then he's gonna hit Jay, he's gonna hit both Usos, then he's gonna hit then that's when there's that next line. Yeah, because Sammy's not gonna be there.
I don't think Sammy's going to be there either.
Sammy's not going to be there, but
there's a moral line in the sand with that.
Imagine Logan. Imagine making Logan look so strong by hitting something on Roman, then hitting something on both.
He's almost going to get the pin. He's almost going to have Roman.
Then the Us comes in. He hits one of them, does something, then he hits the other, misses it, and then
I think it's going to be entertaining as hell, and I think it's going to really deliver. I think they have a plan for this that will also make me begrudgingly want to see another Logan Paul match. I hate that I'm saying that, but he's
put on good matches, though.
He has. And,
I mean, think what you
he
think
has
about
charisma.
The guy.
He has charisma.
I do, but the dude, regardless, the guy has gotten in the ring and proven that he can wrestle better than a lot of wrestlers that we watch week after week.
He's better than Dominic.
Yes, 100%.
100%. Real quick, while we're on the topic of Saudi Arabia, though, we have to talk about how Karl Anderson, how he's handling this whole New Japan never open weight belt debacle.
Yes, please.
So if you don't know the story, essentially, Karl Anderson is the never open weight champion of New Japan Pro Wrestling. And the Good Brothers signed back with the WWE. And he never relinquished the belt. But it was always kind of a bit, I think, of an understanding that Karl would go back over, drop the belt, and do right by the company. All is well, move on. Now, there's a couple of different accounts to this. I don't know what you've heard, but I think this is hilarious. So, he keeps referring to his booking agent and everything. And every thing that he's talked about is his booking agent.
Yep.
Which is apparently Luke Gallows.
Yep. Which I fucking love.
So this next thing with him is that he's been double booked essentially at a New Japan show. And
how do you double book it? Look at the person who's booking it, which is
fucking Luke Gallows. Luke Gallows fucked this up, and the Good Brothers have fucked this up.
It's so good.
And now he's being booked in Saudi Arabia and in Tokyo at the same time. There's no way that you can make both dates, just logistically, it's literally impossible. And what he said is that, my booking agent didn't tell me that I was booked on this show to the New Japan side of things. And apparently they're pretty fucking pissed off. That's the last I heard of it. Did I get it sort of right? I don't know.
You got it 100% what I think is happening. which I absolutely love. I don't know
Allegedly,
if I'm being
by the way.
into a shoot or if
Allegedly.
Yeah. I don't know if I've been worked into a shoot or not. Which, by the way, and I don't want to take away from this, but did you see that Hulk Hogan deleted that tweet recently?
Oh, the famous... Really?
Yeah.
Aw, come on. Someone told him to do that. Yeah. That's a legend. That's like the legendary.
It's legendary, man.
Yeah, come on. You leave that alone.
But to go back to the Luke Gallows and the Karl Anderson, like, dude, that shit is absolutely hilarious. And you hit the nail on the head. I think that's the storyline that I'm tracking.
Fucking Luke Gallows fucked that one up.
Like, he fucked it up, and because
I don't even think he meant to. I don't even think he meant to be a carny on this one. I think he just was a carny, and it's so in, you know,
like, oh shit,
fuck,
yeah,
fuck, I did it, fuck.
I gotta go work where there's more money though. Sorry.
You could see him like getting a call from Gallows or Karl Anderson. He's like, yeah, hey, what's up, Chad? So they're saying, but good brother, they're saying that I'm working, you know, both Saudi Arabia and like
working over here.
Seems like that's the same day, good brother.
That's not gonna...
and he takes a second, he stops, and he's like, fuck,
yeah,
fuck,
he internalizes real quick. Fuck.
I can see it all happening. I don't know what to do, man. Fuck.
Yep. Where the money takes you.
Well, let's just get drunk tonight and we'll figure it out tomorrow.
Yep. Yeah, which is how that happened. He got drunk that night and booked those.
Oh yeah, he could do anything. Yeah.
And today,
Abs Anderson.
Today was
Anderson. He'll be there.
Was tomorrow, and then he figured it out, and now
Fucking
he's
good
like,
worker.
oh shit. So this is the cycle.
It's amazing. Let's talk about another cycle.
We're just spectators.
Let's talk about another cycle though of another professional wrestler in one Nikki Cross, who we haven't talked about, coming back last night in the main event, the women's main event on Monday Night Raw. We also, had the first pinfall of Bayley pinning Bianca Belair in a very, very good match. TV main event match. But Nikki Cross making her, I guess, re-debut. She's been off TV for a while in her old new gimmick is the way I would put it.
Got so much to say about this.
Okay, let's hear your thoughts on the new Nikki Cross.
I can go so many different ways on this. Positive, negative, whatever. Not all of them have to do with Nikki Cross, but I will start there. Crowd was not into it. If you watched the crowd and listened, there was not a huge pop. There was not anything. I think that's a little indicative.
Can I say this though? Because I also
don't think a lot of people knew who it was.
I'm gonna tell you. I'm gonna tell you a reason I think that why the crowd wasn't super into this match. They hyped this match as if it were to be a actual belt on the line championship match, I'm not even talking about the match, when Bayley won, I was like, oh shit, did we just get a new champion? Before it was very confusing, but yes, even earlier in the match.
All right, so you just hit on another area that I was going to talk about, so thank you for doing that, because I was also going to say that this match was good. I was going to also say that I think in the last 2 or 3 weeks that I've watched Raw, I was actually going to look it up for the podcast and I didn't get a chance to, but I think they've had women's matches headlining for the last little bit. There's been
last couple weeks,
if I said 4 or 5 weeks, Alexa Bliss was in a bunch of fucking Raw main event matches. They're actually showcasing women in the main event.
Do you think that's in direct retaliation to the AEW criticisms that they're not?
I think it's in retaliation to that, but I also think it's in the fact that they need to build a women's roster.
Yeah.
So like in order to build a women's roster, you need to have eyes on them to see what's working and what's not.
Need to put people on TV, God damn it.
Yeah, from a booking and business standpoint, it would be like I need to put this on when the most eyes are going to be on and see what's working and what's not. But I do think it's also a direct criticism because now they're pushing that, right? I will also say that when it comes to what happened with the belts, I remember watching right before Bianca's entrance because Bayley came down, if I remember correctly. Then there was a commercial break, at least on Sling, and then Bianca came down, and I remember thinking like, oh, should this be for the title? And then I looked at the graphic. The graphic was the thing that told me, like nothing else. Like when they're doing a title, like they're all over it.
They usually
about
push
like
the big thing in front. Yeah.
And to your point, it was very subdued whether or not this was the title match or not. And so I looked at the graphic, and when I saw it didn't say title, I was like, okay, whatever. And then I watched it, but I do remember watching the time thinking, are they going to end this match and do something in the last 10 minutes? Because they had like 25 minutes, I think, like from when it started with entrances and such to like, they could have done 15 minutes and then like 10 with something else, but they took it all the way. And I'm not mad at that, but I do think with like the Nikki Cross thing, I think that like, from me, and I haven't watched back, but like watching it live, looking at the crowd, I don't think people knew what was going on. So I think
I don't think so either.
I think the audience at home, which was me, knew more than they did because they were saying that's Nikki Cross. I did think her jacket was cool. It's a little Jericho-esque, but I think it's fucking cool.
If you were sitting in that audience and that ran out, would you have any idea of who that was? That could literally be anyone.
It could be like Shayna Baszler.
The last we saw Nikki Ash was in a goddamn superhero mask. Before that, she was in a leather jacket, right? Like, or no, before that, she was with Alexa Bliss being all like, I don't know, like in between. Before that part, she was in the leather jacket.
A little swampy.
Right.
Yeah.
So we have no idea who this person is. All it is, I mean, it's a pretty nondescript. She looks awesome. I think there's something that maybe she can get with this. I think okay, it all depends on the character, but I think there's a character that they can play with this.
Visually, they nailed it. Now it's up to her
to do the character.
Well, and also I got to give credit where she nailed it visually too, obviously, because she's the one who wore it. She's the one who did the run-in and did that. But now it's up to her, and I've heard her on the stick.
It's gonna be tough. It's gonna be tough to break
her. Now you got to be a badass,
and don't lean into the accent rather than away from it. Lean into the accent. Like, make it the mean Scottish broad. Don't be like this trying to sound American halfway, because you can't. You're never gonna, that accent, man. If you're Welsh, if you're Scottish, if you're Irish, if you're any like you're just never gonna break it. Lean into it more. You're never going to break that accent. And I wish her the best of luck, because I think that she does have such potential. And she looked like there was something cool. Like, she had the red lipstick. Like, she had like a real like modern age like look. And I can't really put my finger on it.
Splinter in 2022, like all those little spikes coming out all over. It was the juxtaposition of the black with those I guess steel is not a color, silver.
She needs to be the Nikki, like the pissed off I'm from backstage, don't get a chance character. And that's honestly what I think that she needs to be. I'm fucking Nikki Cross. and I need to, tell you.
She needs to be the fucking Mox of
Yeah,
the
she
women's
needs to
division.
mox it up. She needs to mox it up.
Not give a fuck. Like, and I think from what we are presented,
that's maybe what they're going with.
I'm okay now.
She looked like a knockoff.
Girl,
she looked like a wrestling version of Renee.
Wow. Way to link. Wow. Way to link those worlds. Fuck,
but it's
dude.
True. She looked like a wrestling version of Renee, which if she can pull that off with a Scottish accent and just be a bit of a fucking talking, I'm here, right here, then I think she can get it. It's kind of the same gimmick, honestly, as the man. It
is, but let her put her own spin on it.
And I'd love to see it. I'd love to see it because I think she has the potential. I think she does definitely have a, she has charisma, Nikki. It's just why
the superhero ASH thing
that should have gone away a long time ago.
It worked for the first couple of times, especially with the kids.
Yeah.
But after that, it was nah, dog.
No, dog. That ain't for me. That ain't for me either. Couple more things before we get out of here. Apparently, so I read a thing yesterday. I'm like, oh man, I hope he's okay. And people were saying it's appendicitis or whatever. But Laredo kid.
Yeah.
Lucha.
Is his appendix?
Yeah. Well, no. It was reported today. The promoter said that Laredo kid ruptured his intestines during a AAA match.
What?
Ruptured his intestines. And I'm not sure that's a good thing. So, best wishes to you in Mexico, Laredo kid. Also, everything I've seen of yours is fucking dope. Your intestines? So, it's long as hell. It's long. It's long.
I'm gonna look it up.
Doesn't it go to the moon and back?
Yeah.
Something stupid like that. And it's not that.
How long are the human intestines?
They'd wrap around the world or some. I remember these myths.
Oh.
That's all.
We must be thinking of something else. According to healthline.com, it's 15 feet or more. Yeah, that could be to the moon and around.
My moon. It's right there.
There's something that's really long though. I know what you're talking about.
Yeah,
there's something that's you have fucking a million light years inside of you.
Yeah, it's always. I don't know if that's just some myth they told us when we were kids.
No, there's something inside of us that's that.
Yeah, whatever.
Probably a mycelium or something.
Something. So check this out. We'll end on this one. We'll end on this thought here. And it's only comes from the idea and the news apparently that their AEW and the Warner Brothers Discovery Network are very much in talks, and they're working out the deals, working out the new deals, because I think, is it 2024? Or I don't know if it's 2023 or 2024 that the AEW deal with TBS and all that's up. I can't remember, but the TV deal needs to be renegotiated. And I think that's all probably part and parcel as well, because Warner Brothers and Discovery have both just what do they call that when two companies
conglomerate?
Yeah, conglomerated here.
Yeah, so so the breakdown of that is just business wise.
Yeah.
We as humans invented a game that you can never win. It's kind of like social media. There's never a high score. And so if you create a corporation, which is technically a human, or not a human, but it's it
has the rights of
somehow.
A human.
But there's no high score, but every year you have to keep getting more. So even if you're the best at what you do and almost have a monopoly, you have to still stakeholders
make sure to get more.
So what do you do? You buy other companies below you to increase that revenue, right? Now you have those out, like that's how it works, but also eventually that's how you create a monopoly, which is what we're trying to get away from. But beyond that, yes.
Well,
how the shit works, and it's fucking horrible.
Yeah, it's crazy and it's twisted, and these people are now, of course, over like Tony Khan and what the original deal he made with the Warner Brothers executives might be completely different because they can get rid of people. They can like have new people come in. We can have new ideas and new directions
comes in
that we
and
want
they
to
buy
go
something. They typically get rid of the C-suite executives at that company. That's typically what they do because those C-suite executives are the ones who have been running that company, and they're not necessarily going to take lightly to the new company who acquired them. So they're going to put people in their place.
The good thing is, Tony Khan owns AEW. It's not owned by the network, so it's not like WCW was owned, majority by the network. So that's kind of what made that fall and why it got canceled so quickly. Tony Khan owns AEW, much as WWE owned, or Vince McMahon and its shareholders own WWE. They can take that to any network. They can shop it to anywhere. It's not beholden to a TBS, a TNT, like in AEW's case, or in WWE's case, a Fox or a USA. That's how they're able to get those deals. Now, the new talks and what we've heard are that Warner Brothers Discovery wants to maybe take, some spin-offs, if you will, and insert wrestling characters, AEW wrestling personas and characters into other shows. And we've seen this before in the wrestling world, of course, because we had Total Divas, on USA. We even had Total Bellas, on the E Network. They've done definitely, Ms. and Mrs., for instance, on the USA Network. WWE has not been shy about doing this sort of stuff. It's also made movies. It's got stuff on its own network. So I can understand when like TNT TBS kind of sees that and they're like, oh, maybe we can get an odd program out of this by, plucking a couple of cool personalities that are super popular right now and throwing them in, a show of some description.
Britt Baker DMD dentist show.
Absolutely. Makes perfect sense. See, now you're getting the point.
Split between wrestling and fucking owning a dental company or being a dentist.
It's like,
I don't know how to say that properly.
No, you put that shit. See, here's what you do. Like, they don't own E, but like, yeah. So you put that on a TBS. You do it as
or on
wrestling dentist, it'd be wrestling dentist, and then she'd be there, and then she'd be like telling you how she was doing the teeth, and then wrestling, but then now I'm so tired because I was doing the teeth. It would be that sort of reality show.
Or she's like, oh, I have to go back and I have to do this crown before I go and do the triple crown and AEW's blah blah blah.
The best. Yeah. I mean, so I got a bunch of them, and then we can think of more of these, but I think Darby's stunt show needs to happen. It's like a Nitro Circus Jackass combo. It's going to be skateboards. It's going to be dirt bikes. Like, it's going to be trucks
he's
and ramps.
He's halfway there. Have you seen his Instagram? Like, yeah. He's basically always with Nitro Circus anyway. So, yeah, I agree.
You do that. That's a show, right? You can throw that. That's no problem. I had this thought. This is I said this once to Teresa, and she's like, she stopped first. She actually stopped for a second. She's like, because I explained the concept of it all, and I was throwing out ideas, and she stopped for a second. She really looked at me. She's like, ooh, I'd watch that one.
Would she? Okay, what would she watch?
Andrade's Hispanic cooking show.
Does he sometimes wear the mask?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Okay, I'm in.
Yeah.
100% in that.
But he's
Yeah, I
always
was like
always
85
in the suit. He's always in the suit.
100%. I was like 85% of the way in, but if like 3% of the time randomly he like is pulling something out of an oven
and
he
he's
like
in the
turns
mask.
around, he has a mask on.
Yeah.
I'm even more in. Fucking love it.
Yeah, it's a good one, right? It's a good one. Like, do you want me to keep going, or do you want to throw one?
I've got one.
Go,
I would
go
throw
ahead.
your way.
Go ahead.
I'm gonna do like a Boy Meets World scenario. It's more of like it's not really like a reality, but it's kind of like, let's just say like kind
a
of
sitcom
like
based on reality type situation.
But I'm just saying a Boy Meets World, but with Orange Cassidy as Corey.
Okay.
And the best friends make up the Sean character, right? And then you have like the bullies, and the bullies are the Death Triangle. Right.
Oh,
and then
wow.
Right? Like, you remember, like, they had the big dude and the skinny dude.
Vader also was on Boy Meets World.
No, Harley. I think that was his name.
Vader was on Boy Meets World, so that.
Oh, fuck yeah, he was.
Yeah. That was a big deal. But no, like, I understand what you're saying, but I think I gotta, like, I don't know that.
All right, you got a better one?
Let's do it. For best friends, at least. Like, I want there to be just a best friends, the three of them living in an apartment or a house, and they're just to follow the lives, and they're all in character all the time, and you just get Cassidy and you get like Trent and Chucky D like arguing with each other. And
but in this, can we have like the what do they call it when you do like the testimonial like to the camera by yourself? You know what I'm talking about? So like let's say like they're like Trent and
it's
Chucky
the real world,
argument,
but just the best friends.
It's that, and then
it's the real world,
like
but
Chucky,
just the best friends.
He's like, dude, I was just trying to get some salsa, and then he comes up and he says that he's like doing the one cam type thing. Yes, I'm totally into that.
Yeah, we need that,
dude. And you call it, and all right, and you call that Three's Company, but it's a Three's Company real world based on the fucking best friends.
That's it. Yeah,
that's it.
Yeah,
you're welcome, everyone.
You're welcome. I got one last.
That's in the universe now. That's in the universe now. Somewhere in the multiverse that exists.
I
fucking love it.
I got one last one.
Okay.
All right. First off, no, there is technically two, but this one's like it made me mad because Teresa said like, "Oh, do you just do The Bachelor with Sammy?" And like, I get what she's not attracted to Sammy. She hates Sammy, but I get what she's saying because the Bachelor guy's always a douchebag and like, like the dating game with Sammy. I get what she's saying, so I guess that could be in there. But mine that I think is the best and the last one that I have is why would you not want to go to Pretty Peter's Love Hut? And it's it's a little sexy.
That's pretty awesome.
And it's Pretty Peter Avalon. He's there at his love hut.
He's got a love hut.
Yeah, I think what you do is it's a late night sex talk show, right? Like it's a call-in show.
Kinda like
He's
the
there.
Ladies Man.
It's a ladies man. That's exactly
it's like
what
a ladies man.
Yeah.
It's the ladies man. Yeah, a little Tim Meadows.
Yeah, I think
I love that.
I think that I would watch that.
Dude, he would do a great job. Get a fucking creepy mustache.
Oh yeah. He'd have his love bed behind him. He'd have his heart bed. He'd be there. He with just a microphone, be there with some cushions, and you'd call him, and you'd,
love it.
These are ideas, all for you, TBS.
These are ideas.
TNT.
I have one more because I didn't know about this until you just said it. So I have one more.
Yeah.
What if you did a behind the music with Jericho? And they were following Fozzy, but it was going more AEW, and it's kind of like more like a Spinal Tap type thing.
Oh, that'd be great.
So it's making fun of it, like so he's making fun of the band, like while he's trying to do his wrestling career, which
this
is
like actually great though. This is a perfect idea because it keeps Jericho relevant while he's on the road with Fozzy, taking the breaks from wrestling.
They can shoot shit.
But then also still keeping you up with, hey, I'm still, he is Captain Charisma, really. Like, isn't he? Like, he's
and it's charisma.
Charisma, but you know what I'm saying? Like, he's keeping you up with him. He's keeping up with your Jericho character. Like, as much as he's like the egotist, he's great at what he does. I would watch that. I would watch that
because he would play the Spinal Tap character of the person like in front of the camera, like, hey, follow me, like do this, and like then it's like Fozzy and then it's AEW, but he's the interlink and he's the one directing the camera while in front of the camera. I think it would be great. You could call it, I don't know, this is Jericho or something.
I mean, yeah, you could.
Something like that.
What if,
I do have a question.
Real quick though, what if it's as simple as all those types of ideas that we just had, right? And that is combined into one 1 hour show once a week, and it gives you a backstage look at all of the performers, but they're giving you
they're giving you different like
aspects of their life. It's like for real, like Andrade is there and he's in his real kitchen, right? And he's showing you, oh, this is what I do for lunch in his broken Spanish. And then you've got, Darby like, hey, I'm going to jump off this fucking ramp. And then you've got like best friends like actually living in a house. Now you have to fake some of the shit, right? But that's part of the fun.
Take my $4.99.
And then you got Fozzy on tour, and like you'd watch that shit. Like you'd watch
100%. I would watch that shit.
And that's, I think, that
100%.
And then of course, BTE is integrated into all of it because that's how
BTE
you do
is the
that.
Nucleus. Yes. Because that is the mitochondria, or no, the mitochondria is the
I don't understand science.
So maybe they're the mitochondria, but it branches out from there, right? So they can tap into any of it, but then you've now created, it's like DC and Marvel. I know nothing about comic books and I hate all the fucking superhero movies, but I will say that I think that's how it works. There's multiverses and universes and things. It's all branches out from something.
I just want to see Pretty Peter's Love Hut. I just want that to be a show.
I love that, and I want to watch This Is Jericho.
Yeah. I think all of this is a great idea. We are better at the wrestling business than anyone. Anyone.
Like, no one's booking better than us.
No one.
Yeah, and also if you want to pay us to book your shit,
and
also,
business,
if you're an independent wrestler, like whatever, consult. Just go to the Patreon, right?
That's
like,
it.
Just hit us up on the Patreon.
That's the easiest way to do it. By the way, that is over at patreon.com/ONRS. It's probably time that we roll out of here, I guess. Oh no!
Hey, what's going on with Hook?
What's going on with Hook?
Let's talk about that next week.
We'll talk about him next week, but I got a feeling that, he's just kind of sitting there holding that belt and beating people and not progressing is, I think, the important thing to say about that. Let's do something different with Hook because there's so much potential. I love you, Hook. If you're listening, don't beat me up, please. Don't beat me up. I know you
too.
But just like do something cooler or new.
Book better.
Book better. Yeah. Good luck to FTR on their tour of the world. Good luck to us as we embark on another week. All of you out there, thank you for listening. Thank you for joining us for this evening's podcast. If you like this sort of thing, make sure to join and, our Facebook group. Facebook.com/group/OhNoWrestling. It's very important for you to do because it helps us develop the community around this dumb shit that we love to talk about, which is pro wrestling. We love you. Can't think of any other plugs. Oh yeah, there's OhNoRadioShow.com. Like that's the other show, but you don't care about that. You'll find that on your own. 407-906-6466. And what do we say when we get out of here, Matthew? Woo!